Florida Maquis. That governor you have down there, that Ron DeSantis, boy, he's awfully sure of himself. All this pushback against the globalist cabal or the New World Order. Aren't you afraid that... No. Nobody in Florida is afraid of that. Because we have a secret weapon. And history is on our side. What is that secret weapon? It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Now, some might see this and they might read perseverance or persistence. Or some might read stubbornness. Henry Ward Beecher said the difference between perseverance and obstinacy is that one comes from a strong will, meaning a desire for a positive outcome, and the other comes from a strong won't, the inability to recognize a mistake. But one way or the other, do not get into a battle of wills with old people. You will lose, especially old men. And there is no greater part of the population in Florida than that of the older folks. And one way or the other, we are going to have freedom, and we are going to have liberty, and we are going to have the rule of law. Period. End of subject. Now, I would like to answer some questions that have been asked about me. Florida Maquis, you show lots of pictures of girls in bikinis. Well, most guys don't have a problem with that. It's Florida. But you also read the Bible, you talk about other things. How do you jive all of this? Well, to me, I see it all as the same thing. What? What are you talking about? I read my Bible a lot more often than I'm at the beach and I see girls in bikinis. They're both a blessing from God. I occasionally have an adult beverage by the pool with some fresh fruit. A blessing from God in moderation, all things. Sometimes I'll even enjoy that out by the ocean. Sometimes I'll go to the grocery store. You see, I see this plate of wonderful, delicious, healthy, nutritious food as the exact same thing. As the exact same thing as the blessing of a beautiful woman, the blessing of the elderly people that keep us free, the Word of God itself, the occasional adult beverage, all this is the same thing. Even the occasional heated conversation with a woman I might be in a relationship with. The ability to communicate on that level is all a blessing from God. I see it all as the same thing. I make no distinction. Now, maybe I'm unique in that way, but I don't really truly believe I am. Over at the Florida Maquis Community tab, last night I put up a poll asking, hypothetical, a total collapse of the world economy has occurred, and the increasing cost of groceries, gas, and life expenses has forced men and women to begin seeking partners based more on financial stability than romantic attraction. How much of an age difference would you consider in a partner? Now, as of about an hour ago, 49% of you said age difference would not matter. Only common values. The next largest group, no more than plus or minus 10 years. And then the next group, no more than plus or minus 5. And then 15 and 20 were about the same, 7%, with 742 respondents. Now, what this truly reflects is really more the demographics of those who view my channel. Well over half of the viewers of my channel are men, roughly my age, 35 to 65. That's the largest demographic. But of those who engage with my channel, meaning that they like, they share, they subscribe, they comment, it's more 50-50. In fact, women have a little bit more of an advantage if you look at the demographics of those who are engaged with the Florida Maquis channel. So that gives me a different indication. But one thing that is for sure in a grid down situation, there are only going to be two kinds of men that even have a chance of survival: alphas and sigmas. Because in a grid down situation, even the beta male, the worker bee of society, doesn't have the ability to adapt, doesn't have the ability to operate in a way that isn't pre-approved. You've got to find a way to be able to make your own way. And we've talked about this TV series, Colony, before. Well, that's the case here. There's somebody that has made decisions in his life, one way or the other, that has led him to a certain point. And out of all of the options that the young woman on the left has, she chooses this because it is the option that makes her feel safe. And this is something that a lot of guys can't really wrap their head around. And oh, by the way, I included this picture because there's a massive age difference between President 45 and his wife. But in this particular picture with Emile Macron and his wife, there's even a greater difference. Meaning if you want to look at this picture ranked by age, she's the oldest. President Trump at this time is the second oldest. Melania is the third oldest, and he is the youngest. See, the decisions here were made very differently than most people would make them. But a lot of women these days are confronted with this. They're confronted with guys that would like you to believe they're prepared for what's coming, and for them it means sitting in front of the TV with their headphones on, playing video games, jamming their mouth full of garbage, surrounded by beer cans and guns, yammering on occasionally about good old America. I really do feel for the ladies these days, because this is more common than you think. And the reason I talk about this on my channel is because I know there's guys out there that are better than this, that have fallen into this trap. The way to control a democratic society isn't through fear. It's through distraction. And that's what this is a picture of. Beer, food, guys selling you garbage, TV, world wrestling, whatever. But if you go back and you look at the old seasons, and I know I use a lot of Hollywood to demonstrate this, but this is a really good example of Hollywood demonizing a character that really had his shit together, that really would have been a good choice. This is, of course, the governor from The Walking Dead, seasons 1, 2, 3. He was a master of grasping the concept of what is important now. What was important now to that particular character at that time? Create a safe space. Put up walls. It's the first thing this guy did. Put up giant walls around this little town area where there were places for people to shop and to live and to eat and to have a normal life. And guard them like a pit bull. And that did not go unnoticed. Now, what they were trying to do in this particular series was make you believe there was a giant age difference between these two characters. In reality, there's only 5 years. That's why they had to make this guy out to be evil. You will see this repeated. And I need you guys to look for this in reality. Right now, they're going to try to make it seem as if those who are the most prepared for what is coming, they're going to try to make them seem as if they're the least prepared and the worst choice of people to be around. I'm sure they don't want people rewatching that series, because given what the reality of shit hits the fan situations are, based on what we're observing right now, The choices made will be starkly different, completely different. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? I double dog dare you to ask either one of these YouTubers about this. Either the Patriot Nurse or Jennifer LaFontaine. During a shit hits the fan situation where you were given a choice between the beta male, the guy that just follows instructions no matter what, or the alpha, the one that might be a stubborn, pain in the ass, controlling, arrogant type, who would you follow? Who would you entrust your safety to? And trust me, that day is coming. We talked about this earlier on the live about how it's not going to be a complete wipe of the electrical grid where everybody is all on the same sheet of music or reduced to the same level. There are going to be areas that don't have power and some areas that do. There are going to be areas that have power sporadically and then don't. And that's going to give criminals an edge. And there's already an article out talking about it. Renewable energy dependence could lead to rolling blackouts in Michigan this summer. This is what we've alleged here at the Florida Maquis for a long time. It's not going to be an either or thing. A lot of people have made their prepping plans based on the idea that there's going to be this one event and everybody will be all on the same level. It's not going to be that. There are going to be a series of events. And regionally, things are going to be a lot worse than in others. Right now, I wouldn't want to be in the Midwest. And I wouldn't want to be on the West Coast. Probably Florida is the best place to be. Maybe the next best place would be Texas. But I don't even know about Texas right now. And I'm sure this is going to hurt some people's feelings in Texas. If things were to go south in Florida, if things were to go bad for some reason, I don't foresee it, my next stop wouldn't be Texas. My next stop would be Brazil. You see, this is the real threat right now. People not taking care of themselves. People not being prepared. See, some might look at the guy on the right and think, man, boy, I'll bet he's an asshole. I'll bet he's a narcissist. I'll bet he's hard to live with. I'll bet he's stubborn. I'll bet he's set in his ways. You could be right about all that, about the guy on the right. And this guy on the left, boy, I'll bet you he would do anything for you, ladies. Anything at all. Easy pushover. Because that's what guys like this are like. They just have absolutely no sense of will, no sense of discipline, no sense of control, self-control, or pride. Easy to push around. This is the choice. This is the choice we're going to be faced with. And this is basic psychology. How individuals behave, how organizations work, and how culture affects us all. Floridian culture is the key. It's not just Ron DeSantis. It's really not even just the old folks. It's a culture of people that has divorced itself from the rest of the country in the last 2 years. And it truly has been a divorce. There's absolutely nothing in common between the state house in Florida and the state house in Atlanta. I mean, if you could imagine the difference between Tallahassee and Atlanta. Atlanta right now has more in common with Detroit than it does with Tallahassee. Truly. So, once again, huge blessing from God, having the older folks around, such a wonderful source of wisdom and experience. Another blessing from God, God's Word, the occasional beverage by the pool, the occasional beverage by the ocean, a grocery store full of healthy, good, delicious food, and the ability to engage with a better half, so to speak. All of these things, to me, are the same thing. I'll leave it there. God bless, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys over at Patreon very soon. Take care.